women of the WNBA are so incredibly stupid. Of course it was effing white girl. Everybody knows. The WNBA knows. If the roles were reversed, if a white WNBA player had called a black player the reverse of that, we'd be seeing wall-to-wall coverage. These women, they get protected. If you're on the wrong side of the cultural narrative, you be screwed. One of the beautiful things about being an African-American woman and being an African-American woman these days with a little bit of popularity is you can lie through your teeth. Actually, everybody on the Democratic side, I don't know why I picked on African-American women. That could be African-American men, white dudes, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, anybody that is on the right side of the media, i.e., the liberal side of the media, can look you dead in the eye and lie right to you. And you know what? Only us here at OutKick are going to call you out. No, that's truly the way it is. Brittney Griner finally got asked by a media member, our guy, Danny Z, one of the great writers of all time, got asked about her comment. Effing whack call. She said, all right. Or maybe it was effing white girl. Of course it was effing white girl. I mean, we've seen this for years now. The dudes like Brittney Griner, the dudes like Dejounte Carrington, the dudes like Kahidity Carter, they hate the effing white girl. Angel Reese doesn't hate her. She's just so jealous of her she can't stand. And everybody knows she said effing white girl. Everybody knows. The WNBA knows. That chicken president, Kathy Engelbert, or whatever the hell her name is, knows. Every damn person knows because that's what she said. And it's on tape. But no, wait a second. She said something else. Oh, F off all you woke members of the media want to downplay the moment. All right, well, Brittney Griner, there's an update right there. Brittney Griner says she can't remember what she said in a viral clip after falling out against a fever. Of course she can't. See, African-American women, African-American dudes, white women that are on the liberal side can say anything they want. And no one's going to challenge them. You think CBS, NBC, ABC would be all over this? If somebody said the other way, I'm going to say it because, I'm on the wrong side of the media, and they will clip that and put it out, and Dakich is racist. But you think any of these major news organizations would be all over this if Caitlin Clark said effing girl? I can't even say the word black, apparently, when you're a bald white guy. I don't know. It's so incredibly stupid that you just got to laugh at it. In fact, the women of the WNBA are so incredibly stupid that you just have to laugh at them. Sexist and racist is one thing, but this idiot is just a moron. Over 3 weeks ago, Atlanta Dream forward Brittney Griner fouled out of a game against the Fever and was caught on camera saying something that many people believe was effing white girl. Of course, since then, not one reporter. This is the amazing thing. We got a little girl here named Chloe Peterson. She went to Iowa when Caitlin was there, and she knows her, and so she's going to be the Fever's beat writer, but she's not going to write shit because she's just a little girl that's unqualified for the job that she's got at the Indy Star. That's who covers the WNBA. Nobody like Danny Zakshevsky, Amber Harden. Nobody like that is going to be allowed to really cover them. We want Chloe. She knows Caitlin. Caitlin will talk to her. These chicken shit reporters suck. Every single, and I don't even mean in the fun way. I mean, they suck. Bah, I got a little verklempt. They're awful. They're absolutely awful. Real quick before we play the video, imagine for 1 second, just 1 second, if the roles were reversed, if a white WNBA player had called a black player the reverse of that. We'd be seeing wall-to-wall coverage, CNN, MSNBC, ESPN, Chimichanga would have been going nuts. Where's Rebecca Lobo on this? Where's these hard-hitting journalists on this? Protests, endorsement canceled, careers finished. But here, because it's the dude that got traded for the mass-murdering clown, the killer, or whatever the hell his name is, the dictator of death, the doctor of death, the doom of destroyer. This clown, this dude, Brittney Griner, nothing, crickets. They say it's about competition, about emotion, but you and I both know if you're on the wrong side of the cultural narrative, you be screwed. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. Caitlin Clark, she's great. She's done nothing but elevate the game. Break records. Had a great game last night. Pat Arenas be a positive role model, but because she doesn't check the right boxes. She's not an angry African-American sexist lesbian. If Caitlin Clark were an angry, sexist, racist African-American, she'd have no problem in that league. But probably wouldn't get any endorsements because that league's had angry, sexist African-American and white women for 27 years. It hadn't done shit. Finally, a girl that's just different in her play comes along, and these idiots are angry. Effing white girl, says the dude that they traded for the Doctor of Death. Yeah, my ass. Danny Zakshevsky, our guy, OutKick's guy, who's going to join us at 10 o'clock, finally caught up with Griner and asked her about the viral moment, effing white girl, and here's what Griner had to say.
Brittney, a few weeks ago, you fouled out of an Indiana Fever game. Cameras caught you saying something on the bench. It's hard to tell what you said. Can you tell us what you said?
I remember fouling out, being mad. I remember fouling out on, I believe it was Howard, driving to the basket. They said I put my hand in. But hey, you never really have to look at this shade, so.
But what did you say?
I really can't remember what I said, honestly.
If I showed you the video, would that help?
No, it wouldn't help.
It wouldn't help?
No.
That dude, I mean, they're so, I feel bad for her because she's really stupid. I mean, look, I fouled her. We used to hang out with some little girl that lived down the street, I guess, and went to Baylor. I don't know. And everybody that met her in town says, really nice girl, but just really dumb. No, it wouldn't help. Hell, you show me the video, I wouldn't know. Danny Z asking Brittney Griner after the game what she said. Again, giving her another chance after Griner's had a chance to think about it. Here's Griner when she finally got coached.
You said you didn't remember what you said during that viral moment after you fouled out against the Indiana Fever. A lot of people believe what you said was effing white girl or effing white girls. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that's what you said?
No, would never say that. Like, there's no place for that in our league. Wouldn't say that.
So even though you can't remember, you know that was not what you said?
I know it wasn't that because I wouldn't use that type of language.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, me neither. I have a full head of hair. No, I have a full head of hair. I do. No, I wouldn't use any type of razor because I have a full head of hair. You know, these women, they get protected. And why doesn't Caitlin Clark? Why doesn't Indiana Fever fans get the same kind of protection? You know, Indiana Fever fans, again, I go back to what I said earlier. When you're on the right side of the, quote, cultural narrative, who sets the cultural narrative? I would love to know. Like, who gets to determine the cultural narrative? She obviously said effing white girl. And, of course, all the little culture narrative makers, the Jamel Hills of the world. No, she said whack call. Okay. If you say so. I say she said effing white girl. And don't tell me that wouldn't be her language. That's all of these women's language, white or black. Because when you're dumb, that's all you got. You can't actually say, hey, look, I didn't say that because, frankly, I'm a big fan of Caitlin Clark. Or you can't say that because, well, you know, I would love for Brittney Griner to say this. And this is true. You know, in the basketball community, both men's and women's, we always get racist. We always say effing white boy. We always say, man, that effing white boy can hoop or that effing white boy sucks. And we do the same in women's basketball. So really, I would love for her to have told Danny, get over yourself. It's part of the culture of basketball. We, African Americans, have always been allowed to be racist towards white guys. White guys have never been allowed to say squat. Although, I must say, back in my day, Larry, myself, growing up in Gary, I talked so much to different people, mostly to the brothers, because you could jack with them. The white dudes weren't good enough to jack with. Didn't matter. Northwest Indiana, there wasn't going to be a white dude as good as me today, tomorrow, the next day. But you had to do something. And I can't tell you how many times I got called an effing white boy, cracker, whatever. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't think the WNBA, and in particular Brittney Griner, is that interesting. I think she's so stupid that you just kind of laugh. And I think they've all gotten exposed by Caitlin Clark. I do. I think every one of them has gotten exposed by Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, straight white girl that is a better basketball player today, tomorrow, the next day than any of these women have ever been. And more importantly, she's different than any of these women have ever been. No, not because she's a straight white girl, but because of how she balls, how she hoops, how she gets her done. That's why. And it drives people crazy that are like Brittney Griner, that are like Dejanay Carrington, or whatever the hell these idiots' names are. It drives them nuts. They have not yet been able to figure out, not quite yet, why that league has had no popularity until Caitlin Clark. Last thing before I let you go. Caitlin Clark's three-point distances in yesterday's win. You ready? 33, 27, 31, 26, 31, 27, 26 feet out. None of these clowns have ever been able to do this. The three-point line's 22 feet. None of these fools have ever been to handle it, pull up, shoot, the vision, ever. We've seen Dejanay Carrington. We've seen Brittney Griner. We've seen Asia Wilson. We've seen top of the key down. We've seen Angel Reese, shoot, miss, shoot, miss, shoot, miss. But my game is modeled after Michael Jordan. We've seen all of it. We haven't seen this. And it drives these women crazy. Look, understand, women, your league is now being covered. Do what Major League Baseball pitchers do. Cover your mouth. When you're going to get racist, cover your mouth. When you're going to hate on the little effing white girl, cover your mouth. That way you don't have to answer questions. Although, really, you don't really have to answer questions, do you? All right, let's see what's going on here in Deportes after Game 4 in the NBA Finals, which are all knotted up 2-2. Man, the Pacers shit one away the other day, and I'm not happy. We'll get to play on the court in a moment. But the wokest comment came from the wokest commissioner. He's awesome. Adam Silver is a content machine. His undying love of being woke, his undying Dookieism reigns supreme. He is the wokest and, by the way, the worst commissioner. 75% of the audience is gone from the Jordan era when he started taking over post-Jordan era. The wokest commissioner in all the land went on NBA Count That soon-to-be defunct ridiculous show to justify the league's TV ratings that continue to suffer. Here's Adam Silver on the NBA TV lineup.
As a media matter, it's interesting. Like, people compare us to 20 years ago, but for these games 1 and 2 so far are the highest rated programs in May and June so far on television. And if something beats us, it'll be another sports program. Back 20 years ago, we often didn't win the night when the finals were on. But the ratings, the absolute rating is lower now. But what's happening, people talk about in politics all the time that we're a divided society and people just want to watch their point of view. The world's changed. There's so many more options now that, and this goes to your question, that when for us a huge event happens like the finals, the question is, how do you bring in casual viewers? It used to be when you were on ABC, there were only a few networks. Right. Then there were some cable channels. And so if there was the NBA finals on or the World Series or whatever it was, you were drawn to it because it was a big event in society. People were talking about it at work the next morning. And long way of saying, I think we have to do new things now. So in some ways, I couldn't be happier. I mean, we're dominating in these cities. We're dominating relative to other programming. But ultimately, the goal is to get more people to watch. And that's what makes it a bigger event. And so we have to be innovative and find new ways, podcasts, social media, direct-to-consumer marketing, new digital platforms that we're moving to next year. ESPN and ABC are doing the same. It's a changed society.
It's really...
Why don't the idiots shut up that are on the set? It bothers me. When your guy gets talking that fast and making the excuses, you know he's wrong. Okay, you got a little PR guy that told you what to say. Good. And by the way, I'm an NBA fan. But let's be honest, there's nothing else on TV right now. Hell, even the shows that I was watching, Mobland, they ended their series. The other one, Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm, ended their series. There's literally nothing else to watch. You can make all the bullshit you want about all the networks, everything else. But basketball has exploded. Women's basketball on ESPN exploded. College basketball ratings monstrous. You can say whatever you'd like, and good for you, David Stern, talking really, really fast and trying to be very, very smart, and all the idiots there going, mm-hmm. All the DEI hires on the now-defunct show are going, mm-hmm, 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 yeah, oh, yeah. Suck it, people. The ratings suck. The ratings suck because the NBA presents itself poorly. The players look awful. They look like morons. The game sucks because there's three-point shooting, and because only three-point shooting. And, frankly, there's a lot of reasons. But these playoffs don't suck. These playoffs are awesome. These finals are awesome. This finals is great. I don't give a damn. Yes, I know the casual fan's going to tell you the NBA sucks. Too much shooting. Players look like complete dumbasses. Everybody acts like an AAU game where people don't play defense and blah, blah. Now, not these finals. I will defend these finals. I will defend the NBA playoffs all the time. However, Adam Silver, ratings for basketball, monstrous. Think about this, even during college basketball season, ratings are good. What do you got? You got football going. You do. You got football. There's no football now. Nothing. Don't tell me about the UFL. Don't tell me about Major League Baseball. There is nothing going on. Ratings should be through the roof. Gambling helps that. I know damn near every person I know makes some kind of bet on the finals. Now, maybe I know too many Pacer fans. I don't know, but it's been this way forever. Your ratings are down because the perception of the league sucks. And until you get that under control, they are not changing. You know the saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it actually make a sound? I think this applies to ESPN and to Stephen A. Smith. Did ESPN actually broadcast a game if Stephen A. Smith's dumbass isn't there to comment? During Game 4 of the finals, Smith was caught by a fan, indie lady, playing solitaire during the third quarter. And then, of course, because African-American dude on the right side of the cultural narrative, he lied about it and got away with it. This is pretty good. This is a lady out of India. How can you have all these opinions while you're playing solitaire instead of watching the game? It's a solid question. Now, I like what Stephen A. Smith does because Stephen A. Smith, and again, he's on the proper cultural side. White dudes are now making him the favorite guy to come on their conservative shows, and he happily obliges. He's the new Condoleezza Rice. He is. Anyway, Smith made sure that, yep, that's me. Who would have thought I can multitask, especially during timeouts? Hope you all enjoying the finals. This is going 7 games now, peeps. He says it was during a timeout, but again, he's on the cultural right side. He can lie and get away with it. That's the world we're living in. You know this. The reader said Stephen A. Smith is lying. The photo was taken during gameplay, not during timeout. Yeah, he spent a lot of time with his nose in his phone. For someone paid to analyze basketball, you'd think he'd actually watch. Is Stephen A. Smith a fraud, $100 or $100 million man caught in the act during the NBA Finals? Of course he's a fraud. All you got to do is follow Jason Whitlock to know that Stephen A. Smith is a fraud. Lied about his playing career, lied about everything. Don't even try. Of course he's a fraud. He knows he's a fraud. And he plays the role. He's starting to believe his own bullshit. Did you ever play or want to play a game on your phone during a broadcast? I will tell you what I did. What I did was I would tweet during broadcasts. Somebody would tweet, I'd tweet them back. I thought it'd be cool for the person. I think ESPN got mad, but ESPN got mad at everything because I'm a middle-aged white guy. I could say Seth Greenberg and I and Normie Williamson would be on the phone. What did you say? I said Oh, my God. While Jalen Rose was getting DUIs, talking about white boy wasted, and talking about, what's the guy's name, Blake being dead when he wasn't dead? I don't even know. That's what I like to do. I like to tweet people back during breaks. Stephen A. Smith, these guys are so sensitive. Halliburton came at him, and Stephen A. Smith came back. I'm not mad at Stephen A. Smith coming back. Screw it. That's the way he's built this thing. He walks around like a tough guy. Here's Stephen A. Smith.
And oh, by the way, just in case he was talking about me, my brother, I'm not going away.
No, you're not.
I'm going to be here for a while. You said, read the news? I'm going to be here for a while. So next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, I'm going to be here. And players far more accomplished and far more superior have made their efforts trying to call me out. How has that worked out?
I don't understand why anybody gives a shit about his opinion. No, I don't. I got to pop this up. I don't understand it even sort of. Like, hey, look, I get the act. I do. But why would I would never worry about his dumb ass. He's the one guy I wouldn't worry about. Like, if former players got on there, I'd be like, yeah, what do they got to say? But why would you worry about him? Seriously. And Halliburton's going to be here for a while. I mean, I get it. The DEI panel at ESPN is going to go, yes, Stephen A., yes. I'd worry about Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny. I'd worry about some of those podcasts. But Stephen A. Smith, why give him that power? And I don't know whether Halliburton was talking about Stephen A. Smith. I have no idea. But I know McAfee was talking about Stephen A. Smith. Here's McAfee. Here's Pat Mack.
Tyrese said, like, when these people on these media are talking about me, it's like, how much do they really know ball? And I think he's saying that because it's like, hey, these people are comparing me to pure scorers. I'm a point guard. I'm not a pure scorer. So in his mind, it kind of disqualifies the conversation. You don't even know what position I play or what my role is. So you talking about me is out of pocket. Now, Stephen A. said he was talking about me. I don't think Stephen A. was the only person to doubt Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, he was literally voted the most overrated player in the NBA. Stephen A. took that personally and said, hey, there's a lot better players than you that have tried to talk about me. It's like, okay, relax, dude. Like, we understand you've been on TV for a long time and your job is to judge people.
That's what he does, and I don't understand why anybody gives him that power. Now, make no mistake, there is a rift between McAfee and the DEI hires. There is. McAfee and the DEI hires don't get along, and because McAfee's a real one. And I'd say Stephen A. Smith's a real one. I don't consider Stephen A. Smith a DEI hire. I consider Stephen A. Smith to be somebody that is essential. The rest of the clowns on that set, so let's talk about it. Number one, I don't understand, and I said this, why any player would give that guy any credibility, talking about Stephen A. Smith. And number two, McAfee's right. Pat's right. I mean, look, if you don't know how the guy plays, and obviously nobody over there does, because the correct comparison is Magic Johnson. Now it is. You say whatever you like. Not the Flash, not the Flair. But anyway, it is Magic Johnson. So whether you are worrying about, I guess, Halliburton using the term worrying about, I don't know that he's actually worried about. But if you're thinking about people to be, I don't know, worried about, worry about not Stephen A. Smith, not Bill Simmons, not Ryan Russillo, the triple crown of never played, never coached, legitimately don't know their ass from third base. Now, if you want to trade evaluate it, go to Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo. They can evaluate the trade for you. They're nerdy enough to do the stats, the numbers. Hey, what do the contracts say? What's the cap space on that bad boy? They can get that done for you. But you don't go to these guys for actual analysis. That's what you got the Jeff Teague podcast, Up in Smoke. Maybe you got Shaq and the rest. Candace Parker, not a chance. She doesn't even know people's names. She's become the laziest human being alive. Anyway, long story short, good for McAfee going at Smith, and we move it along to tonight. Game 5, it's 2-2. Pacers were 9-1. 9-1 in what they call clutch games in the playoffs. Now, I forgot to do this before the show, so I'm going to do it right now. Clutch games in the playoffs is an interesting stat. Clutch playoff game. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a stat. I do know this. I was driving home, and I was listening to the game. All right? I was listening to the game on radio with the best announcer in the NBA. Excuse me. The best announcer in the NBA is Mark Boyle. And it was great. And he made mention. Clutch games, playoffs. 9-1 the Pacers are. Now they're 9-2. All right. So what does that mean? I don't even know. Close games late. Let's go that way. I don't know. The NBA, there's all these pluses and minuses. So as I told Kevin Pritchard when we were texting the other day, it was due to happen. Water finds its level. But think about this, people. I know you all are saying the Pacers are going to get their ass whooped. In games 1 and 2, they did. In game 3, they won the game as the better team. In game 4, they won the first 44 minutes as the better team. Then they lost the last 4. That's what this playoff comes down to. Now, it doesn't matter. You got to win the game. But for people that are saying, well, wait a second here, the Thunder are the far superior team, I'm not so sure. Pacers imploded. Pacers absolutely imploded. I will stand on that hill. I will shout to the mountaintop. It was the first time all playoff, actually second if you go by what the hell they're talking about with clutch games. It was the second time in 11 attempts, that the Pacers failed to close out a game in the biggest moments. Now, what's going to happen tonight? I really don't know. I'd like to know. I'd like to tell you, hey, look, Pacers are going to win or they're not going to win. I'm going to bet the game, so I'd like to know. But frankly, the Pacers to me, and this is a way to look at it that most aren't, the Pacers to me are the team that has been the better team over the last 90 minutes. I understand. I didn't say 96 minutes. I said 90 minutes. About 48 minutes and then another 41, 42. Does that mean anything? I don't know. I honestly don't. Pacers are getting 9.5 tonight. I have a tendency to take that. I do. I'm thinking about taking that because, frankly, what I just said, I was at Game 3. Pacers were the better team. They had a 4-point lead under 3 minutes to go the other night. I don't know. Now, OKC wasn't hitting squat. You got to factor that in. I'll take the Pacers. I'll move that line to 10 and see if my toes are tapping. Wouldn't surprise me if they won, though. Maybe a little pixie dust on the money line. I know it's on the road. I know it's a tough crowd. But I want you to think about this. Last 2 games, Pacers have been the better team. They're 1-1. Same thing in OKC. First 2 games, OKC was the better team. No question about it. Pacers got to win. OKC got to win. I'll take the Pacers as the better team right now. I will. Hey, friend of the show and legendary football coach Urban Meyer had something good to say about the Big Ten. This is fascinating. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it's not true. I guess we're going to find out. He says the upper tier of the Big Ten has surpassed the SEC. Does he make a fair point? Here's what he has to say. Well, you know what the SEC's done. It's raised the level. Everybody says that Urban raised the recruiting level when he came to the Big Ten. But the Big Ten has passed the SEC at the upper part. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have said it's not even close. When I first got to the Big Ten, even Shelley said, what in the world? This is a slow man's game up here. And I like to think that the Buckeyes really changed that. They did. Then everybody else started investing in their school, started recruiting the best player, not just the footprint. I go back to what Urban told me when we first met at Bowling Green. He got there. I was a young coach. He's a young coach. We were winning. He had just gotten there. We started talking about what he's going to do, and he said, I'm going to get speed. I'm going to this Ohio State track meet, and I'm offering first, second, third place in the 100, 200, 400, and the relays. All the sprinters. I'm offering them football scholarships. Genius. Next thing you know, they're like 9-2, and he's off to Utah. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. As a result, the Wolverine team 2 years ago was one of the best teams I've seen. Buckeyes team this year is one of the best I've ever seen. You're seeing Penn State and some of these teams having great success. Interesting. Indiana got a lot faster in 1 year. I'd almost think that Cignetti decided the same thing Urban decided at Bowling Green. Hey, I'm going to get speed. Fast wins. And it does. I mean, you ever go to a little kid's football game? I learned this. There was a kid named Quinn Donaldson, played on Andrew's flag football team. It was like this competitive thing in Ohio. Everybody, guys, it was a flag football team started by my friend Dr. Stoner, and everybody from all the surrounding Toledo and everybody wanted to play. Nobody could handle Quinn Donaldson. Why? He was the fastest dude out there. I don't even know if I think Quinn did play high school football. Maybe he played at Johns Hopkins. He was a brilliant little kid. Right there, I'm like, just get fast guys. Forget these tough guys that are like, hey, I was third team all conference. I hit people hard, but you can't catch them. That's what the Big Ten's done. I don't know, but I do know this. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State are as good as any, better than most. And we'll find out this year. Actually, we'll find out week 1. Ohio State plays Texas. Hey, friend of the show, the great Dan Patrick, took a sledgehammer to the woke sports media that struggles to cover anything of relevance. Or rather, they devote too much time to LeBron, Aaron Rodgers. Used to be Brett Favre. Remember when Brett Favre was sending dick pics? You couldn't swing a dead cat without a no update on Brett Favre. Ooh, baby. Stating that networks such as ESPN, NNN will be soul-searching when the two notable athletes finally hang them up and retire. Here is Doggy Dog, Mad Dog, and Dan Patrick.
This obsession with Aaron Rodgers, and now he's back. I mean, the amount of programming that Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James have been responsible for at networks is remarkable. That when they retire, like there's going to be some real soul searching at networks to go, who are we talking about now? What are we talking about?
He's not wrong. They tell you, play the hits. I remember hosting Mike and Mike going, hey, let's talk about this. No, nobody cares. LeBron, actually, it wasn't. It was LeBron. It was, you got to talk about LeBron, probably Golden State. I can't remember, but certainly Rodgers, Favre, and Peyton Manning's podcast or whatever Peyton Manning was up to. And you get tired of it. The great Mark Schler, a.k.a. Stink, told me one time he left the national show that he was doing at night for ESPN to go back local because he got tired of talking about this. I mean, how much can you talk about LeBron effing James, and does anybody care anymore? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if anybody cares anymore. I don't. I know when they get talking about LeBron James, the only interesting thing talking about LeBron James is when Charles Barkley talks about the folks that talk about LeBron James. Who gives a rip about LeBron James? Is he the GOAT? Sure, he's the GOAT. Or no, he's the GOAT. Whatever you want to say. I don't care. Not even a little bit. I don't. Patrick didn't name names, but he was undeniably citing this as a potential problem for ESPN, which often gets criticized for relying too much on the hits. That's what they play. They play the hits. First Take can't go a day or an hour without mentioning James or the Knicks. The Knicks are the latest thing. The Knicks are like, damn. They were talking about the Knicks during Game 4. Like, what do the Knicks do? Who cares what the Knicks do? They sucked for 100 years. They haven't won a title since 72. Who cares? The Knicks are boring. By the way, J.J. Spawn reminds me of Brunson. He does. Reminds me exactly of whatever Brunson's first name is. See, we don't play the hits. I can't remember Brunson's first name. He's old news. It's not Rick Brunson. That's the dad. It's not Eric Brunson. That's a guy I knew. Dale's Brunson's first name. Whatever. Don't care. First Take can't go a day without mentioning the Knicks. Can't go a day without mentioning James or Rodgers, Lakers, Cowboys in some way. Throw in the Dodgers there. Hey, it give you a headache. It give you a big, fat headache. And I don't care. I should care. We're supposed to care. It's ESPN. We're just lowly OutKick, the fastest growing sports media company in the world. Hey, Dan Lebatard's at it again. Fat Dan. Fat Dan and the fellas. This time, he says Trump's ICE raids are a way to make the country whiter. Right. In a way, I'm glad these people have a mic in front of them. I am. It truly lets us know how woke and ignorant they are. So wait, Fat Dan. You're saying that the only reason Trump is expelling violent criminals of military age out of our country isn't to make the country safer, isn't to enforce the law. It's because Fat Dan and Knee Pad Stugotz think it's to make the country whiter. Stugotz, go get a moist towel, wipe your mouth off, and get some new knee pads. They're used up after all these years. Here's Fat Dan.
What is happening in California, what is happening in Los Angeles, Never mind the optics of it. The optics of it are horrifying enough. The reality of what is happening there with peaceful protests and what feels like state militia being rubber bulleting about just basic American freedoms because we are now going for whiter nation. I want to talk about what is happening in Los Angeles, but it gets a little bit uncomfortable around here when we politicize during happy sports times. Like, I've made that change on behalf of the audience because the people who came with us sort of understand, okay, there's not a lot of left-leaning stuff in this space anymore. Like, we identify as one of the things in sports that is that at a time that it's more popular with young white adults to not be that as the country moves toward Trump and as Miami becomes this weird place where a whole bunch of Hispanics who are really grateful for being in this country, some of them, many of them Cuban, I'm surrounded now, have helped bring this thing that feels like state militia to Los Angeles, where there are peaceful protests, and we can hide under the semantics argument of, well, of course illegal people who are here committing crimes shouldn't be here, but that doesn't mean you should make all brown people and black people that. Like, of course, everyone can agree, yes, illegal criminals in this country, yes, get them out of here. But wait a minute. Who gets to decide what's illegal and criminal when you're just going to violate the Supreme Court and democracy and the Constitution and everything else in the name of now you've got an armed militia that says every protest is dangerous, even the peaceful ones, and you can frame it that way because the people are brown.
Yeah, that's total bullshit. We just had a No Kings rally where everybody was there and they were peaceful and nobody had a problem. Like, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sure there are. So Dan Le Batard's full of shit. He's playing on the stupidity of people. Look, all you got to do is look at the riots in L.A. and say, okay, that should be stopped. All you got to do is look at the Kings rallies here in Indianapolis or Chicago and say, hey, no problem. No problem. Nobody got crazy. Nobody broke shit. Nobody went out of their mind. Nobody did. So Le Batard's full of shit. I didn't see a militia come in to stop No Kings rallies across the country. I didn't see any of them. None. Zero zip. But I get it. Le Batard plays to an audience. He does. He plays to an audience. And that audience, well, it's made him rich. But he's full of shit and he knows it. I mean, all you got to do is have a little common sense. You know, X, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, is full of showing these rallies. I mean, in Chicago, they were right in front for 40 minutes of Trump Tower marching. Nobody got arrested, unless, I guess, maybe somebody did. I don't know, but I certainly haven't seen it. No rocks were thrown at cops. No cop cars were stopped, cops beaten, gotten out of the car, and the car burnt. None of that. None. And who stopped it? Nobody. But Dan Le Batard can't talk about that because Dan Le Batard, that would go against his audience. It's the victim mentality. It is. It's, I want to be a pain in the ass, and then when somebody says, no, look, you can't have these violent criminals in our country. It's common sense. It's been that way for 1,000 years, or however, a couple hundred. Long story short, we all know it's bullshit. We all know Le Batard's full of shit, but he has a platform, and he has to cater, and it's made him very rich. It has. And he gets, squeezer from Stugatz anytime he needs a squeezer. But all you got to do, seriously, is look at these rallies. Did the, quote, militia come in and stop these rallies? They certainly didn't here in Indy. Didn't look like they did in Chicago. Didn't look like they did anywhere. I mean, don't act like idiots. I'll never understand why guys like Le Batard or the left, the crazy loons of the Liberal Party, who has now become a terrorist organization, by the way, with another couple murders by one of theirs. I got to tell you, I'll never understand why you defend this. Why can't you look at what is actual and report, talk about, discuss, give opinion on what is actual? And what is actual is simply this. In L.A., it was a riot because that's what L.A. does. Cop cars burned, cops assaulted, ICE agents, rocks thrown at them. Guys are chopping up the street to get bigger rocks to throw at cops. Every other place during the Kings rally, nothing. Nothing. Where was the militia, Fat Dan? Where was it? I'm guessing you're going to be able to find one somewhere. I'm guessing. But 99.9% it went on Saturday. Hey, no problem. Let's go. But that doesn't, of course, feed the idiots that used to prey on ESPN stupidity. That doesn't feed the dumbasses that get in drag or whatever happens with John. It doesn't feed it. You got to talk about this. Speaking of their side, crazy-ass Tim Walz, who I bet you Fat Dan would get in a tight 9 with, a little bit of scissors, who once thought to be our nation's vice president, believes the world should turn to China to be the moral authority over settling the conflict between Israel and Iran. Here's the effeminate male leader of, what's that part? The Democrat Party. Funny. Here we go.
Now, who is the voice in the world that can negotiate some type of agreement in this? Who holds the moral authority? Who holds the ability to do that? Because we are not seen as a neutral actor. And we maybe never were. I don't want to tell anybody that. I think there's a lot of people that say you always leaned one way in this. But I think there was at least an attempt to be somewhat of the arbitrator in this. We saw President Carter do it with Begin and Sadat. We've had certain wins along the way that were actually mutually beneficial both ways. Now I ask who that is. And I mean, consistently over and over again, we're going to have to face the reality. It might be the Chinese.
As they murder all their citizens, sure it is. During the run-up to the 2024 presidential election, Fox News Digital reported that Walz had openly supported a Minnesota-based medical research institute that frequently worked with a company described by U.S. defense officials as a Chinese military company. Remember, he went there a bazillion times. The company was complete with officials that had specific ties to Russia. Of course, he also boasted about visiting China 30 times, including for his honeymoon. Now he's saying the Chinese are the moral authority. They don't seem too morally authoritative to me, pal. That could broker a deal in the Middle East. And it is amazing. It is absolutely astounding what these folks say. And nobody, and I mean nobody, calls them on it. Hey, when we come back, I'm going to tell you why the daughter of Jimmy Irsay, who's the new owner, was wearing a headset on the sideline during games. My God, man.